Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect, perfect.
Welcome back. We're so glad to be live with the community again. For those new to our community, we've had an influx of new members. So we just want to quickly introduce ourselves. I'm Coach Chris, and this is Coach Kinga.
Hi, everybody.
Are you hearing a feedback?
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. Alrighty, one sec. I need to refresh my page. One sec.
Okay, I'll handle it from here, guys. Okay. Let me know if I'm coming in clear. If you're hearing any background noise, just let me know. But yeah, as Coach Chris was saying, we have had an influx of new members, so we do want to take the chance to introduce ourselves. We are Chris and Kinga of Create and Funnel. We help with social media marketing for online teachers, setting up your social media marketing to attract your first student and beyond. We're well known for Chinese social media, but we've definitely dipped into other social media pools. But we're here today to speak more specifically about XiaoHongShu.
Yes. And I did want to just take a quick sec to celebrate a great milestone for the community. We're 4,000 strong. So congratulations and thank you for making this such a lively community of support, accountability, etc. So I love it. I love it.
Wow, it's amazing. We opened the group, I think, back in April, but I can't remember which year, Chris. I can't remember.
It's been almost, I think it's been about 2 years now, close
Almost
to 2
2
years.
years. This April will be like it'll be like 2 years. So I think like when that happened, we couldn't imagine that this group would expand to what it is today, or that this is really the group that set the ball rolling for Chris and I to serve value to our community and to set up certain programs like the XiaoHongShu Bootcamp, which we will touch on today. But that is on a later note. What do we have on the agenda today, Chris?
Yes, absolutely. So today we have a extra special guest, Teacher C or Teacher Coco, Corinne. And we're going to talk about all the steps that she's taken from all the way going independent and becoming an entrepreneur to landing that very first student. So without further ado, let's bring Corinne on. I want to give you a grand entrance, Corinne. Hold on. Here you go. Applause.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello. Welcome, Corinne.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I know that you are super busy these days, so thank you for taking the time out to join us. Beyond celebrating our milestone, I want to celebrate your milestone. I have water in here, you guys. Sparkling water. Excuse me, but
sparkling.
I'm a sparkling water kind of girl. We have something to celebrate today. You shared some news with me, Corinne, right? What was that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Life has been a little crazy the past couple days. Today I signed 6 trial classes and confirmed a second sale today.
So 2 students, amazing. Again with the applause, Chris, with the applause. I'm sorry. Wow, amazing. 6. So for anybody who didn't hear, 6 trial classes. I'm honestly crying right now. 6
Congratulations.
Trial classes, sales, fantastic.
Kinga.
Oh my gosh.
I was peeling onions, full transparency, but
okay. I was like, girl,
do we need
I
a
love you
process?
too, but come on.
For added effect. Congratulations, Corinne. Fantastic. That is amazing news. And I know that that's what our community wants to hear. Guys, we're here to really emphasize Corinne's story and have it said through her voice authentically, because by now you guys have heard enough of our own stories, our own results. That was 2 years ago. A lot of you are still wondering, is XiaoHongShu still a valuable tool, a resource I can use to attract students into my own business? Can the same results be achieved? Can it be replicated? What's going on? So that's exactly what we're going to be focusing on today, but straight from Corinne. So I'm so happy to get into it.
Yes. Sorry.
Absolutely.
So what's going on?
Great. So
Absolutely.
let's dive right into it.
Yeah. We have some questions to get the conversation going, Corinne. So
Sounds good.
first, if you could start out by telling us a bit of your teaching background and what motivated you to ditch your platform and go independent.
Yes, good. And I apologize if I'm a little spacey because I don't even know what day it is today, to be honest.
That happens.
Yeah, so
Same.
so my teaching background, I have been a brick and mortar teacher for about 11 years, teaching elementary grades in private international schools. And with that comes a lot of moving. It comes with a lot of hunting. Sometimes the contracts are short, and there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. So this past year, I had to make that decision. Do I want to do this again? And well, I decided to try something different. I'm like, well, let's try teaching online. So I went online and started watching every YouTube video out there, you name it, I've probably seen it, about the Chinese platforms, what to teach on, about the double reduction policy, all of that stuff that was going on. I got online with a platform in October. And yeah, after I started teaching a little bit online, I did a little bit of online teaching with COVID. I decided that, this was for me and I wanted to go further with it.
Perfect. Fantastic. So Corinne, so great. So tell us about that specific kind of transition from your platform into independent teaching. I'm just curious about what that nudge was for you to really venture out there on your own and obviously outside of your comfort zone. I know a lot of teachers are still with their platforms. They're hoping to go independent. Something's holding it back. So what was it for you that really put you forward on this path?
Well, honestly, the money was like a big factor. Being financially independent. I don't know how the other teachers are out there, but I have noticed a horrible trend lately that pay has not been matching my efforts at a lot of the schools. And it's just you're putting in 12-hour days, you're not getting paid enough. And I wanted a little more freedom overall. So that pushed me. And on top of that, working on my platform, there was a little voice inside my head that's like, I can do this, but I can do it better. So, it kind of was like, well, let's see how far I can take this. And so I started looking into classes, master classes, boot camps. This is when I came across Tim's launch program. And I believe that's where I met you two on the Teacherprenuer training boot camp. And then, so I've been through a lot of boot camps and that's okay. Go, if I have to say anything, try a bunch of boot camps, find people that you resonate with. And you two were definitely ones that were more my vibe. And so I decided to continue working with the Create and Funnel. And honestly, I just jumped right in.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I love it.
Sometimes that happens that you just kind of dive right in and you figure out the rest later. But sometimes those feelings of, financial freedom, time freedom are so powerful that you just jump in without thinking about the rest. So
absolutely.
I totally resonate with that. But it's great that you had the support of those resources like the boot camps and stuff, and trying those things to really, guide you along the way. And I like what you said about choosing your resources, your community, because everybody does have a different vibe. So, I think that's what it also comes down to at the end, that you just figure out along the way what resonates with you. So absolutely. Chris, did you want to interject here?
I just wanted to echo, make it a little bit louder. What you just said and what Corinne brought up is really finding the people that you work best with, because that's part of what, when we say, King and I've always been saying, it takes a village. That's what we mean.
Yeah.
You're not going to just be in a random village. You're also going to be with a village with that supports you, that you're aligned with. So absolutely.
Absolutely. And you know what? Even if you, join a program that seems on surface level that it's the same talking points, everybody's got a different perspective, everybody's got a different flow, everybody's got a different framework. So it's also worth trying to understand what fits with you and your business's needs. So thank you, Corinne, for highlighting that point. You did mention, I want to kind of circle back to the fact that you did mention that you came from the Teacherprenuer Takeoff Bootcamp. You took the next step into launch. That was about taking off in your business, right? And you really built out those foundations. I'm wondering how important that was for you to do as one of your first steps. Let's call that your first step before attracting that first student.
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because it's crazy out there, right? You have so much information about these platforms and independent business that it's hard to ground yourself. And for me, I needed grounding. So I'm one of those people that is super compartmentalized, super organized. For me to start anywhere, it was very important that I had a solid foundation, because it's hard to progress forward if you don't have that already built. So it was very important to me to make sure I knew how to charge, how to invoice, who my students were. I had no idea about any of this. And it kind of felt like, you're just barely treading water, keeping your head afloat. So I really wanted to focus in first on establishing those things, my curriculum, all of those. And, the guidance of the boot camps was a great help, because it did give me that information and the support of not only just telling me what to do, but how to do it. So that was super important for me.
Perfect. So putting it into action, actually, and like you said, not just being instructional, but like actionable as well, right? Great, very good. And I think that Coach Chris and I would agree, because we were also, in a similar point before we ventured out there and attracted our first student. We really took some time to really build the foundations of our biz, right?
Absolutely. I think that's the first thing that anyone has to consider when going into entrepreneurship is your foundation. Because if you're building the skyscraper and your foundation is crap, that's not going to stay standing that long.
Exactly. And when it comes down to it, you might attract your first student, but the moment you have them in your funnel, the cracks start to show through, and they start to see that you don't have a curriculum in place. You don't have a teaching platform that's stable. For example, we've heard about what's going on with Zoom, with Boo. Sure, they may have been reliable to some degree. Are they going to be long-term reliable? I'm not quite sure. So those things make a huge difference when it comes down to the process of conversion. So worth mentioning. Thank you for sharing that, Corinne.
Absolutely. Talking about foundations, Corinne, we want to ask you if you could tell us a little bit more about your what we call star student, or in other words, your target student. And I guess the steps that you took to really discover that and refine it, and maybe perhaps some challenges along the way to that discovery.
Okay, well, so being an elementary teacher, we teach everyone, right? And you've been teaching for years, you teach all ages. So coming into this, I was like, I'll teach anyone. Anyone wants to pay me money, I will take it and you can be my student. And that's really the mindset I came in with. I just wanted to have my own business, have my own students. And shortly, I found out there's a problem with that because when you further along down the line, when you're actually creating content and you're trying to attract your students, you're all over the place. I'm doing phonics, I'm doing grammar, I'm doing this. And it's harder to narrow down. You're going to, at least for me, I felt like I was going crazy. So finding out my star student was super important. And so some of the steps were, who I guess for me, what it was like, I was using the students on my platform, the big company platform, as an example. I was looking at those students as like, who am I relating to the most? Who am I enjoying teaching the most? Because I was teaching ages 4 and up, all the way to 15, and that's a big age range. That's a lot of different learning, curriculum.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, I kind of narrowed down the ages that I really enjoyed. What was it that I was teaching that I wanted to continue? What were things I didn't want to teach? For example, I'm done with phonics. I
Okay.
I love the littles, I really do, but I think I'm at that point where that is just a hard no for me. So finding out more or less what I didn't want to do helped me decide what I did. And that really narrowed down the qualities I wanted for my star student. It wasn't until we went through the process of in our community where we were getting all the qualities from the Slack community of what our star student is, the prime example of what your star student looks like. And I think that really helped as well refine my ideas, because as you go along, you get filled with so many ideas. It's really good just to narrow it down. And it did take me some time. It didn't happen overnight. It took me a few weeks to figure out what my niche was and who my star student was.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm glad that you brought that up or highlighted that, Corinne, because I mean, it's not impossible that you can figure it out overnight, but I think the more general route is that it's going to take this thought process and really asking yourself these important questions that you brought up. Who am I relating to the most? Who do I enjoy teaching? What do I dislike about teaching X, Y, and Z to really find what I do want to teach? So yeah, great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing up that point. Also, I wanted to mention that anytime Chris and I start a conversation with a teacher who is really like various challenges, but honestly, they're all under the umbrella of the same overarching kind of challenge where, they're not quite sure what direction to take with their independent teaching biz. Maybe they've got social media out there, but it's not attracting the right kind of client, or maybe it's not attracting a client at all. Or for example, they've got a higher rate set in place, but they're getting a lot of pushback on their rate, and they're asked to bring that rate down. And we honestly, every time we take them through the process of trying to troubleshoot, like, what's going on, it usually goes back to the fact that a lot of teachers still struggle to define their niche, and they're casting a wide net in their resources, in their social media strategy, and that, I think, affects our rates to some degree. I don't know how you feel about that, Corinne. Do you feel that being more clear on your niche like affects your ability to kind of to maximize your conversion basically on your terms, is what I'm asking. Do you think that is valuable?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been getting quite a few leads, and some aren't always a good fit. They're not my star student. I've had a few people come in and go, oh, my child can read Raz Kids, blah, 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 but he can't speak. He barely responds to the teacher. He doesn't know phonics, but he can read. Well, okay. Well, that just sounds like starting from the beginning to me.
Right.
So, like I said earlier, that's not in my wheelhouse for my star student. So I actually passed them along to other teachers that I know did have that. And instead of wasting my time going, oh, I need the students, I need
Yeah.
clients, I may not be happy teaching that. And the whole point of me starting my own business is to teach on my terms and for me to be happy. And with that freedom also comes a freedom of choice. So, now when that's only been a couple, but everything I've been attracting has been my star student, perfect age range, perfect English level, everything I'm looking for.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you knew this, Coach Chris, and I don't want to spill too many details, but I think, Corinne, your star student was so star student-ish that she had the same name as you. Can you imagine that?
What?
And she's an artist.
And she's an artist.
Amazing.
It was like
So-
copy and paste.
Yeah, talk about manifestation. That was crazy.
Literally.
I know some people listening to this don't know, but my other life, my double life, I am an artist, and that's one of the things that I promote in my classes. So it's really funny that this was my ideal student.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. And on that note, I love that you mentioned your art and your creativity, because we did incorporate that into your niche. I know when we talked about like a lot, especially like going through the bio, optimizing the bio, kind of adding that element of creativity in there to attract that specific kind of student. But it's also been heavily incorporated into your teacher brand, I would say. And when I look at your feed and your profile on XiaoHongShu, for me, it stands out as such a strong, strong brand. One of the strongest ones I've honestly seen. Apart from not apart from, but like for me, the brand is so strong. It's on the level of the teachers who are like the VIP kid teachers with this massive following. It's very well branded.
Thank you.
And so I wanted to talk about that in the context of social media. That's not something a lot of teachers are familiar with. So when we talk about a teacher brand, building out your teacher brand, incorporating it into your social media, what does that all mean to you? And how did you do that realistically?
Full transparency, I had no idea what my brand meant at all. They're like, be your brand. You are the brand. What does that mean? I'm a teacher. I am teaching. Teaching is my brand, but it's also a million other teachers' brands. I think what helped me was kind of, bringing up that idea again of community, right? We have this wonderful community in the Facebook as well as and the Teacherprenuer Slack community. And people were like, just do your art, be your artsy self. And I'm like, well, I could be an art teacher too. It was really hard to find the balance. And so I just went for it. And originally I thought my brand was just graphics. Everything had to be matchy, make it look as professional as possible. And yeah, that's part of it. And I still do that. But I really sell being creative. That's really, as an artist, that's me. I'm a creative person. So I held on to that as my brand. So when I do posts, I try to be as creative as possible without consuming my entire life for editing a video. And on top of that, I also just try to bring people into my life. So I will show videos of just me painting or me doing, things that I do outside of teaching. And I think what has happened is that from the entire collection has grown into a brand. Right?
Yes.
It's not,
Yes.
which I was surprised. I didn't really understand how that was working. And now, like you said, you step back and you can see it and you're like, oh, yeah. So I
Yeah.
find that I found my strong suits. I got a better idea of how creative my brand is and how I can show my brand creatively. So a lot of trial and error
Yes.
there. A lot of trial and error.
I love it. I love
Absolutely.
it.
That's amazing. And I just want to touch on one point here, because you said about stepping back and looking at the whole content from a, greater perspective, like a bird's eye view. And I remember when we were working through content pillars, and it was a little tough there. There was some resistance, and sometimes we were refining content pillars, we were narrowing them down, and at that time it didn't make sense. And what we really worked on with Corinne was diversifying her strategy. So not just posting one type of content only, value, educational. We really tried different pillars, and we saw which ones work. And she did add that aspect of her real life into the content, when sometimes didn't make sense. But now, stepping back and looking at it all together, it's so representative of her teacher brand. And you did share with me that one of your leads was like so surprised by your content, right?
I can't believe it. I actually got a comment from a parent who's like, "Did you do all your ShengHaoShu videos? You're amazing. Like, do you do them all by yourself?" I was like, "Yes, thank you." But a part of me was like, "I like to thank the Academy. I accept this award." Like, that's how it felt, like to have
Yeah.
someone recognize, because it
Yes.
is a lot of work. And
It
this
is.
isn't something that happens quickly overnight. You put the work
Not
and
at all.
effort into it. So that,
Yes.
yeah, that
That's
meant a
such a
lot.
huge one.
So, Corinne, I definitely well, first of all, congratulate you again. And then also reiterate and echo what you said about thinking that your brand was just teaching. And what you said, everyone is teaching. So everyone is good at it, and
Oh,
everyone's
yes.
making a living out of it. So everyone's excellent at that. So it's really taking that extra step and into where your passion of art and what you're really good at teaching comes together. And that's what really just makes you unique. It's something that suits you. It's something that, like what the comment that you got, you made someone feel so curious about this. You made someone feel like in awe of you. And I think
Yeah.
that's the brand. That's what we talk about when we talk about brand. You're standing out. You're being unique. So thank you for that example.
Yeah. I do want to say though, when you are trying to figure out your brand, try everything. Find what you really resonate with,
Yes.
because not everything I did was great. And sometimes I just posted to post, and weirdly enough, those are sometimes the ones that get the attention. So try everything until it sticks.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely, yeah. The reels that you do, or the videos that you do for like 2 to 3 seconds and you work on it like 2 minutes are usually the ones that rock because
Hmm.
it just comes out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's, guys, and I don't want to, hijack the conversation with this teacher brand thing too long, but the thing is about this teacher brand, finding what resonates with you, but also diversifying your strategy to find out what resonates with your audience. And it's something that I'm learning as well in social media, is like, it's not what I think people want to hear, see, or watch. It's about what they want. So like if there's something that's taking off, but it's not, what I spent hours on creating, I'm going to go with that thing that they want to see, right? Or I'm going to get in there and find out what they want. So also kind of shifting into that perspective can really help you find out what works in your content
Absolutely.
strategy.
Yeah.
So, Corinne, and just so what you echoed about your brand, your teacher brand, and thinking about this journey that you took towards your freedom. And I love that you mentioned this dual role of, having the teacher hat and then having that entrepreneurial hat. I know, speaking from personal experience, that journey, that bridge that we create between those two worlds, comes with a lot of challenges. specifically with going from a teaching mindset to a business mindset. And I would love to know what challenges you have come across that bridge between those mindsets in your journey, and what advice would you give someone going through that process now?
Yeah. That's a really good question. The mindset. If I have to say anything about doing this, the mindset is the most important thing. It really, really is. Um, it's, sometimes it's an uphill struggle, sometimes it's a free fall. And there are days where I'm literally like, what am I doing? Why? Then none of this is working. I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to go take a teaching job. Much easier. Let's go do that.
Exactly. Much easier. Exactly. Much
It's a lot
easier.
easier. And and on top of that, when you're going through the apps and looking at other teachers and what they're doing, you're comparing. Oh my gosh, am I that good? Should I do something like that? Your head goes all over the place. And I kind of went a little crazy before I figured out, like you really need to have, I think, like a really good support system, right, in place, whether it's the community of the teacherpreneurs or it's your family, whatever it may be. Because when you feel low, and especially for me in my personal experience, when I was feeling low, no one understands what I'm going through except the other teacherpreneurs. And so it was really important to have accountability buddies and to have coaches that I could be like, hey, and to even have them validate, like, hey, I'm going through the same thing. It's more about collaboration, not comparison. I think Kinga said that the very first time I heard her speak, and I was like, I'm writing that down. It was, and it's literally right here in my office.
Really?
No joke. It's still here. Collaboration over competition.
Okay.
I have all my little affirmations that I look at every morning because I have to be reminded.
Okay.
And it's worth it. The long journey or short journey, whatever journey you're on, it is worth it. And I'm just really happy to have a community that I can relate with.
I love it.
That's
I love it.
that's amazing, Corinne. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing those affirmations. Fantastic.
So, am I okay? Yeah, I'm not a mute. So, on that note of community, Corinne, do you think that that community supported you? Or sorry, I know it supported you along your journey, but are there any specific aspects of having a community that helped you in that journey when you're in your low lows?
Yeah. When I think, kind of going back to the mindset real quick, you have to be ready to be vulnerable and allow yourself to get help. A lot of us teachers are very much alpha personalities. We have to be. We have to. We're in charge
Put
of
ourselves out
a
there.
class
Yeah.
of students. And
Mhm.
so there's some of us, I think, have that little voice like, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody's help. And stubbornly, I had that as well. And naively too. I did not participate in my community the way I should have in the beginning.
Okay.
And it got to the point where I started to feel really lost. I felt alone, and I knew I wasn't, but I was trying to do it all by myself. And again, to kind of echo what Chris said, it takes a village, right? And so allowing myself to be a part and actually participating in that community, world of difference. And I think what's really important is to make sure that people are reciprocative, right? A lot of communities fall silent because everybody's working really hard. But
Mhm.
I think what's really important is that, if you have a question, your coaches or whoever's in charge should be responding in a timely manner. And, you two do that. And
Try.
it really, well, from my perspective, I think you do great.
Thank you.
But
Thank you for the
it,
validation.
we all need a little, right?
Yes.
Um, But I mean, it is, and there's always a few people in the community that are always there and they always, reach out. But accountability buddies, somebody you can just vent to when you're frustrated, things like that, I think are super important. But you have to allow yourself to be ready to be
Cool.
open and vulnerable and transparent because, you're going to learn from each other. And
Absolutely.
I would rather learn from someone telling me the truth and being
Yeah.
open than just telling me what I want to
Exactly.
hear.
Exactly. That's so
100%.
true. That's so true. And that's something that Chris and I are really refining in our own messaging recently is that there's no guarantee. There's no get rich quick scheme. There's no copy and paste formula. Everybody's journey is different and it's not linear. It goes up and down all over the place. I myself am 2 years into the biz and I'm having a lull and now I'm having to re-strategize. And I said recently to my husband, like, is this ever gonna just be stable? No. And that's where that mindset comes in again, because I have to be aware of that and you go to the community for outreach and support. But I also want to kind of go back to what you said about having those affirmations. And that's wonderful that works for you, because oftentimes we hear mindset, and we think, oh, fluff, again, mindset. But it's so
Mm,
important, especially in entrepreneurship. But it's such an active thing. You have to work on your mindset actively all the time in whatever way that resonates with you, to be able to steel yourself against those moments in your business that are going to be a little sucky, and they will happen.
yeah.
Even if you're on top of the world, everything is seasonal. So it's important to have the right mindset so you can always keep the ball rolling.
100%. And then I think it's also important to echo what you said, Corinne, that it's easier to go and get a job. So if
Yeah.
that's calling you, then go for it. But it's not gonna come with that freedom that you're seeking, that you mentioned. The freedom is gonna take that work, it's gonna take that effort, it's gonna take going in deep within yourself and
Hmm.
saying, hey, like, inner critic, chill a sec. I need to push through and I need to get, to my clients and students and get them solutions. So it's, I think, about setting the course for your own journey. And laying out a map and trying to draw your life is a daunting task. So yeah, just wanted to add to that.
Fantastic. Great. And then also, Corinne, something interesting about your journey that really stood out to me is the fact that you've been on this journey for quite some time. We've seen you, we came across each other in the Teacherpreneur Takeoff Bootcamp, and our paths crossed various times. So that shows me that you were really actively like working on your biz and self-educating yourself. And we even talked recently and you told me that's a huge part of your journey. Now, this is really important for me to highlight because there are a lot of teachers and everybody's vibe is different. But I'm very adamant about investing in yourself. And if you're an entrepreneur, that means investing in yourself. I said that. Investing in your biz, but investing in yourself. Not being afraid to invest in yourself, not only your resources, but your time. So tell me about that aspect of self-education on this journey, please.
Well, first off, it's not a sprint. This is a whole marathon we're running here. Okay. So we really, we, you know, you're not going to run a marathon just rolling out of bed one morning going, I'm going to do the New York Marathon without any training, without any experience. I mean, you can, probably going to fall flat on your face. I know I would. But I, no one's there to teach me what I'm doing. So self-education for me looked like finding, watching YouTube videos, finding the right classes to take, watching videos on how to edit, how to do social media. I mean, I'm not completely ignorant of what social media is, but I'm definitely not an influencer. And so for me to have to like be a content creator all of a sudden, that was new. So, I mean, and like really be a content creator. So like, taking time out, watching more boot camps, watching more, how-to videos, and then just practicing. Ever since I've really started going on this, I think ever since I started going on this, it's just I'm always doing something. I'm always trying to learn something. I'm always asking questions, and it's just persistent. It's just constant persistence, because if I don't know something, I'm afraid it's going to hurt me down the line. So really, some advice I could throw out there is, find what you like. What do you need to know? It's okay. If you have to watch 50 videos, watch 50 videos. Somebody might say something that the other person didn't say. And, that's at least that's what I did. I don't have
Yes,
a lot of
I
time,
agree.
but
No one has a lot of time.
yeah.
I love it. I love it, Corinne. So I love this investment into your knowledge, into your curiosity, and into your time. What do you think was the what was the, I guess, the bomb? I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. What was that click in your mind that was like, okay, I'm done watching the 50 videos by myself. I need to look for mentorship.
I think probably when I was done watching 50 videos. It's like, no more. Who's gonna help me put all
Enough.
these pieces together? um,
I love
yeah,
it. I
it
love it.
was. I got sick of it. I got sick of it. Everybody started saying the same things. But I mean, I gained confidence in myself. I'm like, okay, I feel like I know what I have to do. Now I need to find
Right.
someone to guide me in that direction, because I have no idea. So, telling me which curriculum is available to me, how to really invest into my business, what's going to be, because there's so many options out there. So, yeah, the click was, I'm kind of over it. I'm ready to move forward. And naively enough, I was like, I'm going to do this in 2 months. My business is going to take off. Everything's going to be great. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
I mean, I would say that it's good to have those goals, right? And it's good to have like something,
Yes.
a marker at least. Okay, 2 months passed, I didn't get to where I am. Let's reevaluate,
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm glad you said that, because I did do that. I broke it up into small segments. That's what really helped me. So it's like, okay, well, just make a decision, Corinne. Pick your name, pick a logo, move on. So I didn't do that so quickly, but after that, this week I'm gonna pick my curriculum. Next week, let's pick my prices. I mean, people are on their own timeline, but this was my timeline. This is what I wanted to do. But either way, setting those goals that are easily attainable, because the whole grand of scheme seems really hard to attain. But breaking into smaller chunks, I think, is really a good way to go about it.
I love it. I love it.
Perfect. And I think, Chris, is it okay? Can you guys hear me well?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I think, Chris, I remember you actually speaking about that one of the boot camps where we were really talking about breaking down the process, because it's about the overwhelm.
Absolutely.
Break it down into actionable chunks, right?
Yes, exactly. Corinne, yeah, I wanted just to echo what Corinne said about segments. In the boot camp, we like to call it workable chunks. And it's about taking that action in smaller steps rather than this overarching goal that's like a behemoth of a thing to tackle on. Those segments that Corinne mentioned, workable.
Yeah, you guys breaking it down into workable chunks, very smart. For my mind frame and how I work individually, that was really well done, I think, and helped a lot to make it seem less overwhelming.
Awesome, awesome. So Corinne, so I guess if you could talk to yourself at the very beginning of this journey, what would you tell that young Corinne, that budding Corinne?
Yeah, Chris.
Oh my goodness, what would I say to Corinne almost a year ago? Almost a year ago. It's not going to happen overnight. Calm
Yeah,
down.
number one.
Number one, be prepared for the work, right? You are worth it. I would definitely tell myself I am worth it, because there are times where you feel like you aren't. Um, and, I would tell myself it will happen. If you build it, they will come. It will eventually happen. And I think that's a lot of the points that got me low in the journey, when you start doubting yourself because you don't see sometimes results. And so I would tell myself, don't base anything off the results. Stay in your lane, focus on what you're doing, and you will see what the hard work is all for, and what's the outcome's going to be. Yeah. I would just give her a big hug and be like, it's going to work. You're going to be okay. You're doing great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A little bit of interstellar. Yeah. Make that
Yeah.
make that happen. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And I don't want to share too much about, my experience here, but I can resonate with that. And because I really remember specifically when I was starting out with other teacherpreneurs, and everybody had leads, and I had zero. And I didn't even know what XiaoHongShu was at the time. So I didn't even know in any way, shape, or form where my students were going to come from. And I literally just kept repeating to myself, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Don't worry about the how. Just keep doing the work, keep taking the steps. It's going to happen for you. And I can't stress enough how important for success, the secret ingredient is actually persistency, because it's the people who don't give up, are too stubborn to give up, and keep going in blind faith, actually, when they have every reason to turn back and give up, and they keep going and it works, it clicks, eventually it happens. So that's such an important part to highlight there.
I think that's really important that you said that, Kinga, because in the beginning, I wish someone would have told me that. I was very naive, and I thought it would not get rich quick, but once I had my business up, I thought it was going to be like Black Friday, and everybody was just going to be running into me for the sales. And if someone had told me persistence is key, keep going no matter what, I think that would have helped a lot in the beginning too. So you're right, very, very important.
Awesome, Corinne. So one final question before we go into a little Q&A for anyone watching live. Make sure to comment your questions now. So Corinne, pulling you back into the present, and now that we explored the past, what would you have to say to someone who's starting out that journey, that's still stuck on a low plane platform and is dreaming about charting their own course to freedom through their business?
Honestly, I would say do it. Do it. Seriously, this is not a sales pitch or anything, because I was there. It's so worth it. I'm still on my big company platform. I am, because honestly, it is my bread and butter at the moment. I don't have enough students to make a living yet. However, I test things on my platform.
Yes,
So stay there, do what you have to do, but work on it. Do it.
exactly.
And I think, find get into those boot camps. Those saved me. You're not the guidance is it's priceless. It really is. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Chris and Kinga on their teacher boot camp, because it really just helped me so much set up everything. So I highly recommend doing it. I say, make not quick decisions, but make firm decisions, stick with it, move on. You can always change things later. Always.
Yes,
I'm so stuck on, like, it has to be perfect right now and I'll never do it again. You can always change it. Always change it. So don't get stuck on names
always.
and other things. There's more important, more fun things about this too.
I
Absolutely.
love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Corinne. One thing I also want to just mention that was really interesting, Corinne, for us working with you, and that I kind of discovered through a mentorship, is that I noticed how much more like valuable, like personally valuable the success was, like whatever win you had, when it's not like, when you had those moments of like, it needs to be perfect or some kind of mindset block, for us just to take a little step back and give you space to feel,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back, regain yourself, and then be like, okay, now let's move forward. And then it's like, it's not like we're saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's like, we're there every step of the way, but it's you creating your own empire. And how much more valuable is it to you when it's your vision? You've created it yourself, right? So that's something that kind of I've like, I really got from our journey together. And I thought that was really amazing.
Yeah, agreed. I completely agree
I
with
love
you.
it.
That is really, I think, the value that we have in our community, because
Yeah.
I don't feel like someone's like, do it my way. This is your business is going to be a carbon copy of my business.
Yes,
And that's
exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
not what
Definitely
I
not. Yeah.
wanted, you
Yeah.
know? So you guys provide that opportunity to be creative, and you are there. It's all collaborative. So
Yeah.
that's
Perfect.
wonderful.
Perfect word for it. Yeah. I love that. So
Great,
great.
Corinne. So, anyone watching live, let us know any questions. Kinga, do you have any final questions for Corinne before we let her go?
I think that covers it today. Thank you so much, Corinne, for putting in that persistency and sharing your story with our community, because I think that a lot of teachers are at that starting point where you were a year ago. And it's going to be amazing to watch your active transition into teacherpreneurship, and everything that's ahead for you. And we'll be behind you every step of the way. So thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me share. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Corinne. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. A
Wow,
round of applause for our thriver, Corinne, one more time.
that's amazing.
She's really committed to it. Oops.
Very, very committed. And I think that what was
And
so
persistence.
like, yes, absolutely. But what was so amazing for us to be able to share, and why we felt the need to share, is because, again, Chris and I have shared our journey many times before. And I know a lot of you are still wondering out there, is XiaoHongShu oversaturated? Is it still worthwhile to get on XiaoHongShu to attract new students in my business? Is it even possible for me to ditch the platform? So stories like these still happen today, but we wanted to show you what was behind that result, and not just say, first student, here you go, but show, the back door, what all happened leading up to that moment. So I think it was a great live.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And with that being said, we do want to invite you into our upcoming boot camp to quite literally, if you want to follow these exact footsteps, that we're opening up our doors for the Teacher Biz XiaoHongShu Bootcamp, which guides new teachers to take these same steps that Teacher Coco did to get to the success that she is now in the present. So I just want to bring up really quick the site so you can see it. You can head on over to creativefunnel.com/bootcamp enroll. I'm going to
Mhm.
pop it in the chat here. There's 6 days till we start our boot camp, and we're going to think about that freedom. I'm going to think about how you can forever change the way you work as an online teacher. And it'll include, of course, our trainings, our live trainings with us live, your step-by-step workbook, a private Facebook community where you can have that same sense of community and that same sense of accountability that Corinne had, and which is so necessary in this journey. I think highlighting that like 10,000%.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that Teacher Corinne will actually be with us during the boot camp, as well as many of our Thrivers community. Those are teachers who have been actively working with us since May on their XiaoHongShu content strategy. So they have a lot of value to share as well. They've built a strong sense of community, and they're ready to welcome you in there with their open arms to bring you inside our community. So I think it's, as Corinne said, that it's a very, very important step, and a step in the journey, right?
100%. And with that, in the Facebook community that we're going to set up for you, we're going to host mindset coaching sessions to overcome those obstacles, right? So that bridge, that journey from teacher to entrepreneur is not easy. And it's something that we have to really look deep within ourselves. And it's these guiding questions and these guiding sessions that will help you overcome that journey and really cross that bridge.
Absolutely.
Plus some AI tips to really help you create content effectively, easier, and really take the pressure off of that.
Absolutely. Streamline the process.
Exactly. And we're also excited because we're going to be collaborating with Crystal Clear ESL and Koala Go. They'll be hosting their very own trainings, actually, about curriculum and how to use their platforms in an online space.
Perfect. Very good. Yes, very excited about that collaboration. We know Crystal of Crystal Clear and Ben and Xavier, as well as the whole Koala community, do so much to support us online teacherpreneurs. So we're so happy to have them join us and share a little bit about their perspective on what it takes to make it in teacherpreneurship.
So just stick with us a little bit more. We do want to go into the details of each training, but we do want to give you a little bit of a date so that you can get organized. We're going to kick off on the 27th, so a week from now. And then following that, we'll have our first training, which we'll talk about in just a sec. And then on Friday, you actually have an implementation day. So we're going to ask you, like we told Corinne, about workable chunks. We're going to you're going to commit to taking action after what we've discussed in training 1. And then you have, of course, the weekend to relax and start the week strong with training number 2 and 3 and into our free masterclass for boot campers only.
Great. Super. So just looking at this calendar and looking at the scope of the trainings, I just want to talk about, first of all, what's changed in this bootcamp. By now, this is XiaoHongShu Bootcamp 5, but it's actually the 6th live bootcamp we've run. Correct. So I would like to say that we're seasoned by now.
Absolutely.
Quite well. And so I would say that each boot camp is definitely a step up above and beyond. And more specifically, we've really gotten into our community before this boot camp, and we understand the journey. We understand the different points from which teachers are starting. Whether you are still on the platform, you haven't made any active steps into going independent, or you're hybrid mode, you're teaching on the platform, you're dabbling in independent teaching. Maybe you're on XiaoHongShu, but with little to no results, and you're struggling to attract any students. You've tried everything, but it's not working. So those trainings were really set up to be, first of all, actionable. It's more about actionability than it is about instruction and overloading you with information. We want you to take the information that we do present and apply it and implement it into your own business. And we're going through the challenges that teachers commonly face. Some of the ones that Teacher Corinne mentioned, like training number 1, picking your star student, right? We're really going to take some deep work into that, because we cannot go on further without really refining that teaching niche, moving into creating a diverse content strategy. So thinking about that branding that Teacher Corinne was talking about, thinking about setting up appropriate pillars that align with your teaching niche, right? And through our community, we're staying consistent. We're keeping up with the momentum. We're taking action, right? So those are some of the inspirations behind the trainings that we have chosen for this bootcamp. And to be quite frank, they're a bit more different than the last ones, Chris, right?
100%. I think they're improved, they're upgraded, just as we preach, we do. And so we also want to refine and look at and examine and reevaluate our boot camps after each one. We see what worked, we see what didn't work, and we see what we have to take away. And that's why we looked at these trainings and really focused on these 3 trainings. Just going along with parallel to all of our clients that we worked with, and highlighting Corinne today shows that having those foundations, like she talked about at the beginning, was so critical for her success today. So we're really setting up your foundations in this bootcamp.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to mention, Chris, is that we always promise ourselves that, like, once we finish the boot camp, it does, full transparency, it takes a lot of work, guys. We're teaching full time. We have our own personal lives somewhere in the background. I don't know where at this point, because it's pretty much invisible. We're teaching full time. We're coaching almost full time at this point, and we're, creating a boot camp. And every time we're like, well, we've got everything created, so the next time should be pretty simple. But like, the next time we kind of burn everything to the ground and start again. And it's not about like something didn't work. It's just that the need, we're more specific on the need. We really want to zone in on that. So that's like why we really like to kind of craft the experience from the ground up every time.
And just what you said though, Kinga, like, we're not going to sell you fluff, and we're not going to do some generic thing or talk at you where you watch boring replays. No. That's why we do the work that we do.
Absolutely. And we're not going to, present information to you that you could easily look up on Google. That's not what this is about. That's where we're going beyond that instruction. We're going into actionability.
Exactly. We're respecting the investment that you're making. We understand what that means. We've been in your shoes. So we're not gonna, anyways. So you can join now for a one-time payment of $37, and you'll have your replays of those trainings all the way till October 10th. So, definitely showing up live is key and critical. And I say it's how you're going to get the most out of this. But if you can't make it, life gets in the way, rest assured that you'll have plenty of time until October 10th to watch your replays. It's the 21st. We're starting on the 27th. That's about 2 weeks, so that you can take your time, catch up, get to the community, and get our feedback.
Absolutely. Yes. And I do want to highlight that point of feedback. We are in there with you. We're giving feedback on the actionable steps that you've taken. As far as I remember, we provide homework for each training to complement what we learned about, so that you can really put it into steps, put the steps into place. And we're kind of, I don't want to say we're pushy about the homework, but we strongly urge you to do it, because it's like,
highly suggested. But that's the thing though, we highly suggested, because our 2022 boot camper did the homework, posted her curriculum challenge, and in that day enrolled 3 students. So these are things that are working, right? This is a framework that is successful.
Exactly. I think there was a comment from her that she had converted 1 student and signed up 3 trials during the live training. So she was really putting in the work. And
exactly.
Funnily enough, she was out there on XiaoHongShu, but she just wasn't attracting the right type of lead. And it was really the moment, I would say, the breakthrough is when she just got so clear on her star student. And she just showed up as her authentic self, is when it was breakthrough and things started shifting.
That's the breakthrough that we typically see. And that's why training 1 is focused on that, so that you can take Friday to implement and think about your homework. And then you have the weekend to kind of really hone in on that, and then really get into work, which is content, and your offer, which comes from your star student. Great.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts, Coach Kinga?
No, so we highly excitedly invite you to join this edition of the Teacher Biz XiaoHongShu Bootcamp, along with our collaborative partners, Crystal Clear English and Koala Go. It's going to be an exciting and amazing experience, full of value, full of community and teacherpreneurship. So we invite you, and we hope you can join us. Let us know in the comments if you're here with us, if you are joining us. And that's all from me.
Yeah, excellent. So make sure to go ahead and go to createandfunnel.com/bootcamp-enroll to sign up and grab your spot. We'll be opening up doors to the Facebook community on the 27th and kicking off with our welcome party. Alrighty. Well, have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you're watching from the world. Thank you so much for those that stuck around until the very end. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. We hope you guys got a lot of value out of this live. We hope you took the steps, that you wrote them down. And that's all from us for now. See you next week inside the boot camp.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.